All right, so I'm gonna do a actually I don't know if it's gonna be quick. I'm gonna do a video on something that I have not done before, but I have watched and seen some people do it, and that is do a milk bath with dried flowers. And some of the flowers that I am choosing to use today, this color here, and a little sprig of dried flowers like this. Now, I've seen some people put these on dry, and I've seen some people soak them in water, and then I've heard that it's good to soak them in alcohol. And so that's what I've done here. They've been soaking for about 3 minutes. I do not know if there's a specific time that you should do it for, but I'm gonna go ahead and take these out and kind of let them dry out just a little bit. So I'm just gonna see, actually let me just kind of see how they work. No, I think I'm gonna leave them soaking, and then as I get closer to that step, I'll take them out. So I'm just gonna set those right there. All right, so my nails are prepped. I'm going to leave my other colors, and I'm only gonna do the milk bath on my pointer fingers. Now the other colors that I have on is, let's see, this purpley maroon or plum is called Posh Plum. It's DP 117. This is by Sparkle & Co. It's one of my favorite colors from Sparkle & Co. Although they have gorgeous colors, but that's just my current favorite. And then this gorgeous glitter I have on is See No Evil, and that is by Double Dipped Custom Powders. Incredible. I love this company. These are my two favorite dip companies. And so I'm gonna do the milk bath with Got Milk, which is a white creamy color, and this is by the Double Dipped. And I'm also gonna use the Double Dipped Clear powder. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I have a Dashing Diva nail guard on my nail, and over that, I am going to go ahead and do one dip of clear powder, and then I'll go ahead and go into the Got Milk for the white. So we will go ahead and just get this started, and I always shake these up, twist them. I'll go ahead and open my clear. And for my base coat, I'm going to be using my triple vitamin. And for my top coat, this is one that I have a larger container of that I put into this. It's one that I found at my local supply store. It's Mia Dipping Nail Top Coat. And I use their activator as well, and I just put them in my own bottles. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start with my base coat and shake it up a little bit. Triple vitamin is extremely thin, which is perfect for what I'm doing, or I just like how thin it applies. And before I do that, I'm going to grab my coffee filter. I like to have something to wipe down my brushes. Now, coffee filter doesn't have lint, and so it's like a lint-free. So I'm gonna kind of move this stuff over just a little bit. And I also use a scoop. I like to scoop instead of dip, so I'll use that for my clear. So we'll go ahead and get started on this. So this is the base. Let's do nice even coat. And actually I'm just gonna go ahead and dip. It'll be easier for this. And then I'll do my other hand. You wanna make sure you're staying off of your cuticles and off of your sidewalls. And that will be good for, and then I always double check and make sure I didn't get any I use a small dotting tool and I just run it along my edges just to make sure I don't have anything on my edges. I don't usually, but I prefer to catch it now. So that will be it for my first coat of clear. We'll just set that to the side. And then once I have that dry, we're going to use our brush and brush off any excess. And then I'm gonna jump right into the Got Milk. And with this one, I am gonna use the pour method. And so I'm gonna take a cupcake liner. Just kind of set this in there, and then that's gonna help me, if I spill, it'll go into the cupcake liner, and then when I'm done, I can pour it back into the container so I'm not wasting any of my dip. So we'll go ahead and open this. And I'm gonna go ahead and take out the flowers. Let's see. I'm not sure about this green. I do not know if I'm gonna wanna use that, but we're just gonna set it here for now. And there's 2 of these. I know I definitely will figure out how to use that. Now, I have not done this before. This is the first time, so we're gonna be experimenting. Got the dark purple. We've got another of those long ones. And I cut these because I wanted some teeny tiny ones. And one yellow one got in there. So we'll just see how this goes. Whoops. I lost one there. There we go. And I have seen on some with more, it seems like some of the dye is possibly gonna come out of the flowers, and so it seems like once you place them, you kind of want to try not to move them too much. So that's just something I'm gonna keep in the back of my mind. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right in with our base, and we're gonna get a coat or 2 of the Got Milk and get that started. So we'll go ahead and get that covered. And then brush that. And then we'll go straight in the scoop. We're going to do the pour method, so it's just pouring it over. And you can definitely dip right in. I just prefer, depending on my mood, to do the pour method. And then while that one sets, I'm going to go ahead and dive right into the other finger. So I'll do this one. It's a little bit different doing it at this angle. And then we'll dive right into this. There we go. And then I'm going to take my dotting tool real quick. Just kind of dot along. So I've seen some milk baths where it looks like the flowers are like deep into the nail and like hiding, and some are peeking out, and I kind of want to try for that. So I'm going to stick with the first coat of the Got Milk, and I want to place one flower and then go into another coat. So I'm thinking we're going to try that. So I'm just giving that a minute to sit before I brush it off. And then let's kind of look at my flowers and figure out, I think I want these dark red ones. I don't know. That is going to be gorgeous. But I want to make sure I have room. Where do I want the dark purple to go? Because I definitely want the dark purple in there. I wonder how we should situate that on. Would that look kind of cool? And then have maybe one of the small wispy ones. I don't know, that might be kind of fun. Well, I think we're just gonna give it a try. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and brush this off. Now I like the triple vitamin base because it seems to dry a little bit slower than some of the other ones. So I think we're gonna jump in. I almost want to trim this one down just a teeny tiny bit. Let's see. So maybe I could use them. So I think we're going to maybe trim that section off. And then if we want to, I have this other little section that I just trimmed off that we can add on. So we're gonna give that a try for this first finger. All right, let's give this a try. I'm doing my left hand first since I am right-handed, and we'll just kind of see how this goes for us. So here's the coat of the base. And then we're gonna jump in and grab our flower and kind of figure out where we want to put it. I'm just trying to push it down so that it can get into that base coat. The base coat's definitely sticky. I felt it on my thumb. Maybe I'll do an orange stick instead of using my tweezers. That way my tweezers don't get all goopy. Okay, so my base coat is still a little bit tacky, so I'm gonna go straight in with more of my Got Milk white, translucent white. Look at that. So that's sticking up just a little bit, but I like it. So while that is drying, we'll go ahead and jump over here to our other finger. And I liked how we cut the big piece down just a tiny bit. So we're gonna do that here as well. Let's see. Take that little guy and those little guys. And then, because this nail is a tiny bit shorter, I think that's gonna look good. And then I think this I don't quite like, where you can kind of see where I took these ones off. So I'm just gonna trim this. Hopefully I can do it without, whoops. Well, I took off just a teeny tiny more than I wanted to, but that's okay. I think we can fill it in. I think this is fun. Whoops. Lost it. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my base coat on this finger. And we'll pick up our flower. And let's see, so I did the middle section of the flower towards the middle of the nail. So I think I'll do something similar. And then I'm gonna take my orange stick and see if I can push this down a little bit. I'm just pushing it down with my finger. What do you think? I like it. So while it's still wet, I'm gonna go ahead and put the gut milk. I do have this weird, I don't know if you can see it, piece sticking up, so I'm gonna trim that. Over here, so we have that trimmed off. Oh, I love it. I'm thinking this is looking good so far. Okay, so we're gonna come back to this other finger. I'm gonna go ahead and brush off the extra powder with my handy little brush. Okay. I want to take a look and see. This little section right there is kind of sticking up right here. So I'm going to make sure when I put my base on that I make sure that gets covered. So I want to take a look at what I have for my little options for flowers. And I definitely want to get this teeny tiny dark purple in there somewhere. I have a cat hair that I keep seeing. So I'm gonna do this little purple and I feel like that is just too big. So I'm gonna try trimming this one down. Oh my goodness, that was stiffer than I thought it was, and so the other piece went flying. Let me see if I can get it. There we go. Perfect. Oh, it's starting to come unflat. I love it. Okay, so we're gonna use these smaller ones. So we're gonna use one of these little flingy ones and one of these. All right, so let's give this a try. Go back to our base. And I'm gonna take a second and make sure I get somewhere under, before I get too far, under that guy to push him down. Because I really want that to stay down. So we're gonna give it a minute to dry. Of course, this is when the base takes its time, which is what we want for this situation. I think this is gonna look good. All right, so we'll go ahead and cover this whole nail. Oops, got a little piece of flour on my brush, so we got that taken off. So I'm gonna start with this little tiny piece of purple that I wanted. Why are my eyes not working now? Let's see if we can grab it. It's the one that has a teeny tiny hair on it. Okay, so this I want to have pointing that way. So we'll leave that sit for a second. And then I think for this big piece of purple, I want it kind of Oh, it almost seems too big. No, I'm definitely gonna leave that there. All right. It does have a teeny tiny little stem that I'm gonna chop off. And then while it's still a tiny bit tacky, I'm gonna take my got milk, pour that over. And I'm gonna take one of my little sample bags and kind of just close it and see if that kind of helps to get it to lay down a little bit. And then I'll do just a teeny tiny bit more of the got milk. I'm liking it. All right, so we'll go back to this one. Let's see. We'll brush it off. And I think for this, I might skip the larger purple part. Although this one is broken up quite nicely, actually. There we go. I kind of just broke it off a little bit. I think I might use this smaller bit. So I might use that small one with this little small purple one. Those two. All right. So let's go ahead and do our base coat. Over our entire nail. Tiny one. I think we're gonna place it right about there. And take this other little purple one and maybe go right about there. Oh, I love it. Hopefully you can see it. Might change the light just a tiny bit. Now we're gonna go ahead and put our got milk on it. Let's do the little dotting tool. Now, it looks like my cupcake liner got a little bit of the flour, so normally you try not to contaminate your colors, so I might have to toss that. We'll see. All right, that is looking pretty darn good. All right, so we'll come over to this other nail and we're gonna brush it off. That looks awesome, if I say so myself. It's not too thick, so we're gonna do another coat of the got milk. Let's see. Gonna have a little bit of bulk to file down, but that's okay. I think this is gonna look fantastic. And we'll take a look at this other one. Just brush it off real quick. And we'll just check to see how thick it is. It's not too bad. Do another coat. Just wiping that down a little bit because I've kind of seen a little bit of the dye from the flowers come through on my brush. Cover this up. This one is chunky. Of course, I didn't use the sample wrap like I did the other ones, didn't I? We'll just do that real quick and see if that does anything. We will let that dry. Let's see how this one's doing. So we're gonna be done with those for now. Let's take a look and see what's in my cupcake holder. Just looking to see if there's any pieces of the flour for me to pull out, because I don't want to pour that back into my container. I'm going to go ahead and brush this one off. And I'm going to activate it so we can file it and buff it. So where's my activator? I'm going to be generous with the activator because we want it to get through all of the layers. And dry those, get them hard. See, that flower almost doesn't look covered enough for me, but we'll see what happens when we file it. Let's see how this one's doing. I almost feel like I got too much of the white over that first flower, but it does peek out perfectly. It's not controlling, so we'll take a look and we'll see how it works. So we'll get that and we'll wait for that to dry. That one's definitely got some to be filed down though. Oh, let's see. I'm kind of just making sure it's dry enough, the activator. So I like to make sure I've got my sides nicely shaped and the cuticle area. I do pretty well about staying away from that when I am applying the base coat, so it's not too bad. But why is that? So I have a flower. Why is that not attached properly? What is happening here? So I've got a bit of filing to do. Some of the flower came through, but that's okay. I did not put a clear coat on, so that's why that flower is coming through, but that is quite okay because it still looks fantastic in my opinion. For it being my first time, I'm thinking it's pretty good. Okay, this one little spot right here is kind of getting to me though. I think it's just because that's where the flower is. There's like a little stem right there. So we'll go ahead and stop at that, and then we'll buff it. Or we'll go in with a sharp, a finer grit. This first one I did was a 100, 180, and then this is a 220, 320 grit. Alright, I'm liking that. I'll go in with a buffing block. And we'll switch over to this one. That's definitely dry. Let's see. This one's got some weird shape going on. So I'm going to work on thinning out the tip portion. To help kind of facilitate the shaping going on. No, it's got an interesting look. It's definitely different than the other milk baths I've seen. Might be very dusty. Go in with this one. To get my flat edge. That looks good. Let's see, I'm going to make sure that gets closed up. I'm gonna go rinse off my fingers real quick. Normally, I just do an alcohol wipe, but those were a little bit extra dusty, and so I just want to make sure I have a clean, clear base there. Let that dry for a minute, and then we're going to go in and reactivate. Let that dry for a minute. I think it's going to look good. I like it. I'm thinking I like it. So we will go ahead and reactivate. Oh my goodness, look at that. Happy dance, I think I did it. I think I like it. So while I wait for that to dry, I'm going to clear this off real quick. Whoops. Put that in my garbage. Oh yeah, I'm thinking I like this. For sure. So I'm just letting my activator dry real quick. That was just a teeny bit rough. That is gonna be so gorgeous, in my opinion. Kind of just looking at the shape of my nails here. I almost want to redo the top coat on these nails real quick. So while that is drying the activator, I'm going to go take my filing nail file and just buff up my middle finger. After I took off my nail guard off of my pointer fingers, I was using a little bit of acetone to get the final sticky layer off, and I feel like it touched my nails just a tiny bit. And since we're going to have a pointer finger that's going to be an accent finger, and this ring finger is going to be an accent finger, I want to just make sure that my middle finger is on point. So we're just roughing that up. This is one cool thing about dip powders and dip applications is if you mess anything up, you want to change something, it's so easy. Just file it off, activate, away you go. I'm just filing off that top coat, roughing it up. And then we'll just take our buffing block real quick. And then here I will do alcohol. So I just use an alcohol wipe. You get big packages of these at Costco. And then we'll wipe that nail. Get all of the dust off. Let that dry for a minute. And then once that's dry, you just take your activator, you activate it, Okay, so I'm gonna let those activator fingers dry, and I'm gonna take a lint-free wipe, which for me, I get napkins from like whatever fast food we go to, and it works perfectly because the napkins don't seem to be linty. So I use that. I'm just gonna wipe off any extra activator left over on the pointer fingers, and I'm gonna leave the middle fingers to finish drying for like another minute or so. So that should be good. And this is where it's important to wipe off your top coat brush, is after you've used activator. Oh man. All right, it almost got locked up on me. So this happens sometimes. So you just kind of move it and put the lid back on. I'll take that off again. All right, we'll go ahead and do my pointer finger first. So you don't want to contaminate the liquids. I'll do my other pointer finger. Like that. Put that in. I'll take my lint, wipe off that middle finger. And we'll go ahead and apply our top coat to the middle fingers. Make sure you cap the edges. Make sure you don't touch your wet ones, that would ruin it. So we're gonna go ahead and top coat it, seal the edges. There's something on the tip. Just kind of wipe it off. Start over. Cap the tip. We're going to go back to our middle fingers. Second coat. Cap the tip. My husband's watching a movie in the other room, and I can hear the wall vibrating. I'm going to redo this one because I accidentally just touched it with my finger. Felt it. Darn it. So make sure you got your tips capped. I'll let that dry for a minute. Let's put the cap back on that. I'm going to have to make sure I wipe down the neck. Oops. So I got something. I was just going to wipe down the edge here. Maybe later I will. But once that dries, we will put some cuticle oil on it. I have Sally Hansen's cuticle oil that I like to use. What do you think? I'm thinking it turned out pretty darn good. Well, that's it. That's how you do the milk bath. I think we did it. I did it. Did a fantastic job. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.